Call to order the Westford Conservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. This meeting is being broadcast live by Westford Cable Access TV and recorded for playback online. By attending, you are consenting to your likeness and audio being used and rebroadcast by Westford Cable Access TV. The first item on our agenda is open forum. Do any members of the commission have something for open forum? Jim?
Yeah, I got two items. Back at our second meeting in June, we issued notices of violation about the railroad herbicide application across town. We issued them to three parties. CSX is the railroad, a subcontractor, Keith Morris, and then another contractor, RWC, hired by CSX directly. And as part of the violation, we said that they'd have 45 days to pay their fines. That time would have expired back
I'll
like a
follow
couple weeks ago.
I'll follow up with when that got sent.
What happens if they have not?
That's a whole nother, I can ask the circuit rider to kind of
Okay.
opine.
All right, that's one. The second one has to do with East Boston camps. There was a lot of garbage, literally in a pile, probably 6 feet tall, by the tree that has the sign about no littering.
Oh, wow.
And it was there for days. It disappeared. I don't know who managed to pick it all up. It was way too much for any individual to grab it and get rid of it. But I was noticing the sign references, the sign that indicates that there's $100 fine for littering. There's a reference there to Mass General Law, which is the wrong reference. I brought this up a couple of years ago. All the beaches have the wrong signage. They reference a chapter 21D, which is rules for establishing a hazardous waste site. That's not what we're doing. What we want is chapter 40, section 21D. That's the correct reference, and that's about
Look to getting them up.
levying fines from a town bylaw, something like that.
So that, and you're saying, when you say all the beaches, that includes the town's, the rec department beaches as well?
The
Just-
beach, the girls.
So the three beaches on the
Oh.
All
property.
three beaches at
Okay, but not the other town
Burgess'
beaches?
Ponds. I don't know, all I know is the ones in Burgess' Pond.
Okay.
All three of those have the wrong reference.
Okay. Any other members have something for open forum? Matt?
Just a programming note to start, the public hearing for 37 Powers Road, 334-1871. The applicant has requested continuance without discussion to the commission's September 24th meeting, so if there's anybody in attendance for that. Also, just a general note, and I know there's been news flashes that's been put out by the town. A second mosquito had been confirmed with West Nile virus. They're spraying tonight. More information's on the town's website for to follow up. But just using the opportunity in the forum.
Okay. Do any members of the audience have something for open forum? Okay, moving on to our 7:05 p.m. agenda item. It's a continuation of the public hearing and issue order of conditions for 87 Hildreth Street.
I'm Jennifer Billington of 87 Hildreth Street.
And I'm Brian Billington of 87 Hildreth Street.
Okay.
So included in, as a result of the commission's last meeting and discussion within the public hearing, provided at your desk was a plan received yesterday from the surveyor. It's the sketch, I can pull it up. It's the erosion control and plot plan as was provided in that sketch plan, showing rear access to the rear of the dwelling, avoiding the 1 or 2 leach fields in the front of the house. If there are any questions from members of the commission on this specifically? Okay. Also included in the commission's meeting packet and provided to the applicants were the draft special conditions. We do need to correct the plan reference in the plan, but that's minor, as this was prepared on Friday. Do you guys have any questions, comments about drafted special conditions?
I have one question, and it's more of a, and I'll give you a little background on why I might have that question. When, like, we told you we were taking down one tree, and that's our intent. That was with our previous contractor, who backed out since it took so long to get, do the survey and get the plans done. When we hire a new contractor, because that is a small copse of trees, if he asks to take down another tree, what would be our avenue to remedy that?
So, great question. It's like I get to go scope through here.
We don't want to take down anything more than we need to.
No, understood, but, if, there are, there is a special condition that I'm trying
I think it was one of the first ones towards the
Yeah,
bottom.
but
Oh,
in terms of, we have something standard in there that says if something comes up during the planning, if something comes up, well, I think what Matt's looking for is language that says that happens, this is who you reach out to, this is how you bring your request forward.
Yeah. Special condition 29, the builder and their employees and contractors shall make no changes or additions to any of the work or construction products shown on the approved plans without first having those changes reviewed and approved by the commission or its agent. So it's kind of reach out to me first, and again, because sometimes it's we're doing, it's a limited scope of change, or it's, maybe, we're now changing, we're taking down 5 trees. Okay, right. There's a difference. So, reach out to me first, but there is some kind of wiggle room in terms of, construction field changes that come up because, it's Westford and I'm sure there's ledge.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
We'll reach out.
Do any members of the audience have any comments or questions on this project? Can I have a motion to issue the order of conditions as amended?
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye. So Matt will be in touch with the paperwork. Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving on to our 7:10 PM agenda item. It's a public hearing for Deckett, 67 Slay Road.
Goes to you.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetland bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 27th, 2025 at 7:10 PM in meeting room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application of Kevin McKinnon, Deckett, for the removal of an existing 10 by 18 foot deck and replacement with a new 16 by 18 foot deck within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands at 67 Slay Road. Assessors map 13, parcel 55, lot 2.
Good evening.
Right, name's Kevin Deckett, and that's basically what we're trying to do, to rebuild an existing deck, make it a little bit bigger.
It's on sonotube right now. The existing deck that you're gonna remove on sonotube, and is the new one on sonotube, or is it a
The new
frost
one-
wall, or?
The new one will be on helical piers.
Would be what?
What is it going to be on?
I didn't hear it.
Helical
They'll be
piers.
helical, so they
Oh,
just screw it
twist
into
it.
the ground,
Okay.
so that, there really be no excavation or anything.
We've in the past kept all building, all construction more than 30 feet from wetlands. Was there anything about raised decks that it's different, or should that also be?
So I was stopped out this afternoon, and again, in lieu of getting a full delineated survey, done for this, I did kind of poke around and look to see where the nearest, again, using the Mass GIS, it appears to be 25 feet from the DEP wetlands layer. In going out into the fields and kind of going through some of the vegetation to the southerly of the lot, I think it's further than 25 feet to. Yeah, no, I think it's probably in that 35, 40 foot range to the existing. The proposed is coming out an additional 8 feet, but the piers the helical piers are
Right.
Yeah,
they're
step back.
step back. So I think this is certainly consistent with the commission's,
We've allowed
the rules and reg.
27, 28 with like a sonotube, or as you talk about the way you want to do it with like the helical.
Yeah, and we had a one on helical piers on Nutting Road a year or two ago. And so we looked at the distance from where that helical pier is going into the ground
Right.
to the edge of the wetland.
So he
That's
makes
your
it
purpose.
with
Yeah,
this.
I tried to pull the beam back on purpose to
Yep.
keep it farther away.
I got no.
What is the distance? I see that you've got a stairway coming down on the right side. Where the stairs hit the ground, that's a little bit beyond the helical pier?
Yeah, it appears to land a little bit beyond, but not beyond the front of the deck.
Okay.
And this, underneath the existing deck is concrete patio, kind of different from other instances. I was anticipating it to be crushed stone, but it's a existing concrete
It
patio.
pre-exists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so, my question was, I'm assuming there'll be kind of a concrete landing.
There'll just be a small footing to catch the bottom step of the stair. Okay, that's it. It won't be like coming out beyond that.
Are you, with the concrete patio that's under the existing deck? is it-
Actually, I don't know if the concrete patio quite comes out that far, but
Well, that was my question, was the concrete patio going to be extended the way the deck is also being?
no.
No,
I mean, we're just gonna make sure that the stairs land on a small piece of concrete.
but I was thinking more about where the deck is now hanging out farther over where it used to have.
Oh, that area, no, we're not planning on doing anything with the patio or.
Yeah, kind of,
Okay.
this photo, kind of
Okay.
this.
So
We're
that-
just planning on leaving that the way it is. I don't know if the homeowner has
Okay.
plans to do anything or.
I mean, if there's if the commission would entertain a condition to the effect of, the patio, the existing concrete patio, shall not be extended, without approval, review approval by the commission, just so it's documented somewhere.
Any comments or questions from members of the commission? Any comments or questions from members of the audience? So you were talking about having a conditional negative based on if they want to,
Just to kind of record that the concrete, the existing concrete patio shall not be extended.
And also should mention that the distance to the wetland is more closer to 35 or 40 feet rather
Yep.
than 25 shown on the.
Yeah, your visual observation
Yeah.
versus.
Yeah.
It's,
versus GIS.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to issue a conditional negative determination?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You're all set.
Be in touch.
Moving on to our 7:15 PM agenda item. It's a public hearing for Crowley, 18 Watson Road.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 27th, 2025 at 7:15 p.m. in the meeting room 201 Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the notice of intent application of Joseph Corey for the abandonment of an existing septic system and installation of a new septic tank, pump chamber, and force main within 100 feet of Nabnasset Lake bank and bordering land subject to flooding at 18 Lawson Road, Assessors Map 77, Parcel 82, Lot 0.
Good evening. I'll introduce myself quickly. My name is Seth Donahoe. I'm with Gillis & Roy Civil Design Group. Next to me is Joe Corey, the applicant and owner of the property. As you read in, we are here tonight before you for a replacement of an existing septic system. The house is on Nabnasset Lake or Pond, and we are not proposing any expansion of the house or the existing lawn area with this. On the plan before you, there are two hatched areas labeled ST1 and PC1, that's septic tank and pump chamber. Those are required to service the proposed leach field, which is up out of the 100-foot buffer zone in an existing driveway area. All of our proposed work is within an existing lawn area or the existing driveway itself. And then we have perimeter controls flanking the house. The house in itself is serving as a limit of work. Nothing will occur beyond the front face of the house. And we have straw wattles on either side to prevent any excavation materials from migrating towards the lake. I feel it's a relatively simple project. The Board of Health has approved this plan already, and it is for the replacement of the existing septic system with no expansion of flow proposed. So if you have any questions tonight, I'd be happy to dive into them.
No?
Yeah, I was trying to look on there where the septic tank is going to be. Is that the 1 and 2?
So ST1,
You keep the pen, don't look at it.
right there.
And that's the pump chamber.
And there's a pump chamber after it. So the line will come out of the house, it's actually outside the 50-foot buffer zone, go to ST1, connect to a pump chamber, and that'll discharge to the leach field, which is outside the buffer zone, up in the existing driveway area.
Size for a 2-bedroom septic.
It is, yeah. Bluntly, it's not a huge lot, so he's working with what he's got.
Just kind of with some backstory, this design, or a similar design in the same location, was previously approved by the commission a couple years ago when the existing well was dug and is there a garage on it?
The retaining wall.
Oh, the retaining, yeah, the wall along the lake. That's been closed out with a certificate of compliance, maybe last year or year before. The only comment I would have, do you have a time frame for which you anticipate repairing?
Well, I was talking to Seth this morning about that. As you know, that we do the drawdown on the lake, so, and those tanks gonna be in the water table. So I wanted to do that when the lake is lowest, so they start the drawdown on October 1st and end it like November 15th. So if I could do it in the first or second week of November, I was looking for a little, to work a little, because you have a November 15th cutoff. Right?
December 1st to April 1st, but, where, based upon the circumstances and kind of the design or the construction kind of constraints to do it during the drawdown. If the commission's amenable, we can certainly push it to, January 1st, and again, if things get delayed, you need to,
Well, if he needed to come in and do it between December 1st and April 1st, all he has to do is request it.
Yeah.
And
And,
then we would allow him to do it.
well, and the one thing might be is in the winter months when the ground is frozen, there's a potential we might want some additional erosion control just in case
Yeah.
of something. But yeah, is a lot of
I don't
times.
see it being an impediment to him being able to do it.
No, when you, if you can't get it done before December 1st, and you've got a plan for when you are going to do it, it becomes just a discussion item, not a public hearing.
Okay. So I'm just gonna aim for the first, second week in November. My main concern is the tanks, because the bed is actually out of the 100-foot zone, so we can kind of, but we'll see how it goes.
What's
My,
the-
obje-
I'm
my,
Mr.
my
Wood,
main
what's the concern?
objective is get it whether,
I'm sorry, sir, what was the concern about if it's done in conjunction at the same time as the drawdown?
I can
Well,
dive into that if you want.
yeah, go ahead.
So the groundwater table coincides with the elevation of the water in the lake.
So it might be a little bit lower, deeper than what otherwise.
Correct, yes.
What's the concern?
Dewatering. So if you were to dig the hole when the water's up, and we're dealing with about 5 to 6 feet of change between the groundwater table and the existing ground surface. So the bottoms of the tanks, if the water was up in the lake, the bottom of the tank would be in a puddle essentially, and they'd have to pump that out temporarily.
Oh, for the construction work.
Construction work,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
I'm a licensed installer in town, so I did one of my neighbor right down the road, and we had the same circumstances, so I had 2 pumps running, and so I'm trying to, if there is.
Doable, but
Yeah.
doable, but
Yeah,
it's it would be a
Yeah.
pain.
And the tanks coated?
They are. So a requirement for the tanks, the actual penetrations have to have a 1 foot offset from the groundwater table. We grossly exceed that here, but the tanks routinely, they are essentially watertight and they're coated at the bottom for that.
Any comments or questions from members of the audience? So, so this is an NOI, so we would need to draft special conditions.
Yes, if I can certainly work, have those drafted and circulate them to you guys prior to the next meeting, and for the commission's consideration to issue at the September 10th.
Okay. And so being on the agenda for the September 10th to get the order of conditions issued works for you?
Yeah.
No issues.
Okay.
Yeah, September 10th.
Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to September 10th?
So moved. Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you then.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to our 7:20 PM agenda item, it's a certificate of compliance request for 35 Skies Road.
This was this project came before the commission recently. It was for the installation of a new septic tank, pump chamber, force main, and leaching field on the slope above Keys Pond. They received the COC request, the engineer certification. They've provided a couple photos of the lawn area stabilized, so tank and pump chamber are in this general location of the lawn. You can kind of see the force main, where the force main was excavated up the slope and to the leaching area above the dwelling. This work during construction was appropriately contained with the erosion controls. The slope got stabilized afterwards with a seed mix and wood chips from some of the trees that got removed at the top. The plan that was provided in the commission's packet had an error, and so a revised plan was provided from the firm showing the as-built force main going from the pump chamber up to the leaching field wholly on the subject property. I was out a couple times during construction, didn't have any major concerns, or the Board of Health has acknowledged the as-built plan as being satisfactory for them. If there are any questions, more than happy to field them or relay them to the project engineer for follow-up at the next meeting if nothing of the effect.
I have a little nit. Over in the right end, what is, that's an as something or other. I'd love to know what it is.
It's as-built distribution, the D-box.
Okay,
And that's, yeah, it's, yeah, it just got cut off with the kind of all the other information that gets, kind of jammed onto one of these plans.
Understood.
yeah.
So if there are no questions from the commission, I'd recommend issuing the certificate of compliance for this.
I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for DEP file number 334-1782.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Moving on to our 7:25 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for Percy Circle Realty Trust, 5 Percy Circle.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetland bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 27th, 2025, at 7:25 PM, in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application of Percy Circle 5 Realty Trust for the abandonment of an existing failed septic system and installation of a new septic tank, pump chamber, and leaching field within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands at 5 Percy Circle, Assessors Map 27, Parcel 129, Lot 0.
Good evening, I'm Kurt Fitzpatrick with Civil Solutions. I'm here on behalf of the property owners for 5 Percy Circle. Basically, what we have proposed before you is an upgrade for the existing 4-bedroom house, shown here. It's currently served by a septic tank in the front yard and then a leaching pit over in front of the garage. The system did not pass the Title V inspection. There's a bordering vegetated wetland that was delineated by Matt Morrow that runs across the back of the property. And then the 50-foot wetland offset basically runs through the garage and then almost parallel with the front of the house. And then the 100-foot offset extends through most of the front yard. So we conducted 2 deep observation holes, test holes 1 and test hole 2. We had a water table roughly at 5 feet and observed to be a loamy sand and gravel and a percolation rate of 3 minutes an inch. The water line currently servicing the house runs off of Kersey Circle and runs underneath the porch here, right in the front. So what we're proposing to do is to come out to a new 1,500-gallon 2-compartment tank that's going to feed into a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, and it's going to pump the liquid up into a system composed of the Presbyterian Baroseptic. It's 32 feet long by 16.5 feet wide. And as part of the construction, the water line is going to be relocated. So it's 10 feet off the leach field, and then they can reconnect it before it goes back underneath the porch. There's a sedimentation and erosion control barrier along the side here. It's composed of straw wattles and a siltation fence. And this plan has been approved by the Westford Board of Health, and I'm happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Any questions from members of the commission?
There's a tree here.
Yeah, there's actually
they're gonna have to come down?
there's a dogwood there, and that's going to come down.
Is there a plan to put a new one somewhere?
Not presently. I mean, there's a garden area here, and then there's a large oak, large pine, there's a cluster of large pine, and then another oak in this area here. And then there's another dogwood over in the corner here. There's the lilac bushes along the side here, and more gardening along the side here. Typically, we don't like to see any new plantings within 10 feet of the leach field because those roots will infiltrate the new leaching area. And this area is actually pretty shaded with these large trees. I'm not sure you'd get good results planting something in the vicinity of those.
Yeah, but that whole backyard's open. I mean, that's homeowner.
I guess to Lauren's question is, looking at the back, we don't see any existing tree line, and it's not really relevant for, but yes, is that whole area there vegetated with trees, or is it open lawn?
No, the backyard is open lawn.
Okay,
And then this area is actually gardened with a lot of pachysandra, and then the wetlands have actually,
so is it maintained to the wetland? Is the lawn maintained to the wetland edge?
Looks like it.
It is.
most of the areas. There's some brush line along this series of flags here, and then where it gets closer to the house. It's more Pachysandra than anything, honestly.
So let's see, which is, north is up,
South is,
south is up.
North is that, yes, that's correct.
Okay, so north is that way. So west is up.
Correct.
How big is that dogwood?
It's more, it's very large, it's more bush shaped than anything, it's got a lot of leaders that go off.
Well, what we've done in the past, a lot of times if you're taking out a tree, we want a replacement. But the other times what we've asked for instead is to allow more of a naturalized buffer along the edge of the wetland, just to provide protection. What are people's thoughts about that?
So when were these homes built? Percy Circle.
70s?
Oh, my God.
I think 70s.
Well, if it was a leach, yeah, if it was a leach pit.
This is actually the second system. The first leach field is actually right in this area here.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the pit was put in as an upgrade.
And this is an upgrade to the upgrade.
Yeah, the bottom of the pit is probably in the water table. So,
So
I
mean-
probably before our local wetlands protection act.
Yeah,
Because this wouldn't have passed the muster.
yeah, but,
And we probably would have required more buffer to the wetlands edge.
but that's also one, thinking back colloquially over the last couple of years, sometimes that's what we've done is where there is minimal
We could ask for that.
naturalize it, yeah, instead of replacing the tree to allow a, what would you say would be a good width of naturalized buffer?
I mean, 5, I mean.
Like 5 foot?
Ideally 10, but, 5, kind of, just so that there isn't, it's not just, mow where the tires are dry,
There's
I
also,
think they'd be amenable to that.
that could injure the trees that are right here, moving the water line there, all the root systems there. It's gonna mess with those trees.
Probably get that in now.
Would
Yeah,
that be,
That's a large oak and they typically have a deep taproot.
They do, but they also have roots that go this way, so you're gonna
There's
affect all the
really no
branches
other way
on
to
this side.
put
Yeah,
the
that's
water
gonna
line
have to
in.
be.
I mean, but you're taking a tree out and you're harming part of another tree, so like.
would that be, when you put the water line in, would be with like a ditch witch, or would it be,
No, they'll trench it, they'll use a
trench it.
trenching bucket.
Okay.
A narrow excavated bucket, because it's gotta go down at least 5 feet
okay,
for frost protection.
and so 5 feet deep, but fairly narrow?
Looks like he's only looking to take the one though, so.
Yeah, okay, but one of the a lot of times you take one, we ask for replacement, what do people think about asking for a naturalized buffer?
I like that.
Say between wetland flag 1 through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so kind of,
Yeah,
5
this is
feet.
the area where it butts the lawn the most.
Okay,
And then
yeah.
this area is a lot of Pachysandra and kind of an overgrown brushy vegetation.
Yep.
Yeah, just, not mow it, or if they want to do something like, planting native shrubs, whatever, but just, yeah, not mowing to the edge of the lawn.
Okay.
Are there any comments or questions on this project from members of the audience? Okay, so Matt, this would be a conditional negative?
Correct.
Can I have a motion to issue a conditional negative determination?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our 7:30 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for Ahmad, 47 Village View Road.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 27th, 2025, at 7:30 PM in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application of Rana Iftikhar Ahmed for the removal of 11 trees and leveling portions of the property with the installation of retaining walls within 100 feet of woodland vegetated wetlands and 47 and unnumbered Village View Road, Assessors Map 60, parcels 16 and 19, lots 0.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And for the record, your name is?
Rana Iftikhar Ahmed. So Rana is all right.
Okay.
So if you want to kind of start with what you're looking to do and why.
Yeah. Okay. I am doing this for the first time in my life. So I
Yeah.
You're amongst
Yeah.
friends. It's
Yeah,
all
Yeah.
it's
good.
fine.
Sorry,
A lot of
I'm a bit
other people
confused.
have been in the same shoes.
Oh.
I'm
Thank
doing
you.
it for the first
Yeah.
time.
So I want to basically install solar panels on my house, and this side of the house, the back side is all south facing. So, and the elevation of this roof pitch suggests that there is no point in adding any solar panels on the front side. So the only useful side is this back side, all the way from here up to there, because that's the only south facing side where there is good amount of sunlight available. So the problem is this thing. I have contacted a couple of solar companies to get quotes and access the feasibility of the system, and all of them are, I have contacted, I have given an example of NU Water Energy because I like their system more than anyone else, price to performance ratio. But I have got quotes from SR Solar in New Hampshire, and there are a couple of other companies, I don't remember the names of all. There is one company in Acton. I mean, I have got all Energy Solar is another company, and I have got quote from a couple of companies. All of them are saying that the system is unfeasible with the amount of trees here, and they have marked this area. This drawing was done by NU Water Energy, and they are saying that I have to remove these trees in this area. So there is a little bit of problem. I mean, there are a lot of problems, but one concerning thing is that this little part is not even my land. It is the conservation land, and there are 2 trees that are very tall and are also blocking the sunlight. So, and the remaining trees are in this area, and there are 8 trees on my land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 and 10. I have marked these trees number 6 and 7 right here, and this tree number 11. I have been asked a question. I have brought some pictures with me. Yeah.
Okay,
So-
because there are a lot of pieces to your request, let's talk first about the solar and then
Yeah.
move on to the other
So he wants
pieces.
to take down a bunch of trees in the back for solar, and 2 of them are on our property.
No, they're on open space property.
Association land.
Yeah,
So these trees right here, the number 6 and number 7, they are in this open space that we are talking about. And there is a stream of water that runs from here. This tree is around 23 feet away from that stream, according to
What's
the
the distance? I couldn't hear.
23 feet.
23?
Feet, yeah. This is I have used the GIS maps from the next AGIS maps from Westford. Yeah. So, so this tree number 11 has a health issue, and it's leaning towards my property because there is a call-out charge, so I have included that. It has nothing to do with the solar. It's the health issue, and I have got a picture. It is leaning towards my property, and I have got a couple of companies for the tree removal. All of them are concerned about the way that tree is and its life and its health and everything. So
Jim?
Is tree number 11 outside 100 feet from the wetland, from the stream?
I assume it should be.
Yeah, I think it's,
Because then it's not under our
Do-
jurisdiction.
Do we,
Right, that's why I was
yeah.
asking that. But there aren't any distances from the stream indicated up here, except for the.
We don't know where the buffer
Yeah.
zone is.
Right.
I received this question today. I will try, I will give this information later on. I tried, but I was getting late from coming here. So this question was asked today. I will mark the locations of, distances of all the trees from this stream. But this tree, this right here is 23 feet. So I assume, because the stream is going outwards up to this point, so, and these trees are further in, so I would say none of the trees will be less than 35 feet away from it should be more than 35 feet away from the stream. I mean, because all these trees, I mean, if you compare with these two, because I have mentioned the distance here of 23 feet. So if you see the stream is going outwards here, and all these trees are further in my boundary line. So I feel they will all be more than 35 feet away from the property minimum. So I will do this drawing. Unfortunately, you cannot save this on that tool, so you have to redraw it again. So that's the only problem. I'm using next.agis.westford MA, which is a website that mostly used in property sales and things like that. I mean, I'm not an expert. I just used it because it was seeming to be an official way of doing things, at least. So yeah. So when go.
Jim?
There's nothing specifically in the Wetlands Protection Act regulations that I'm aware of, or the town's bylaw about accommodations for cutting within the buffer zone for purposes of
solar
solar
panels.
panels.
So you talked,
So that's a question that I think we should ask the.
so weighing the interest of wetland protection versus
Right.
the interest of being able to
Right,
install
there's
solar.
no way we should come down on that. But, but we also don't have any information about the quality or the health of the trees, except for the one, number 11, which the homeowner indicated is leaning towards the house. We don't know if they're healthy, ready to fall over, leaning which way or anything like that.
Mhm.
So that would also be something I'd want to consider.
Yeah, and I had, after reviewing the packet, I had sent Matt my questions, one of which was, with a lot of cases where people have been asking us to take down trees that are leaning, is from the ground, they show us a picture that shows, how it's leaning, if it's leaning towards the house, so that we can really visualize
And in terms of health, we would have
an arborist. Yes.
Give you a report or along with an
Yeah.
estimate or something.
But that's the kind of information that's helpful for us to assess the request.
So I have contacted, arborist has visited the house today, but there was not enough time to write a letter and sign it.
Yeah.
So I was specifically asked for these two trees, number 6 and 7, but I have asked them to look at all the trees. They were saying that most of the trees, I mean, their words are leaning towards the house because, I cannot say about each and individual tree, but definitely number 6 and number 7 are leaning towards the house, and they actually gave me some notes. I don't know if they have any meaning because they are not on the official letter.
So I guess if it doesn't sound like we're gonna be able to close this out tonight. Would we rather get the information from the applicant, sending Matt an email with the details of what you've gotten from the arborist and stuff like that, so that we have it for the record?
Those are only some of the questions.
Right.
Okay, all right.
But yes.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, that as you have more information, email it to Matt so that it can be distributed to us and it can become part of the project file.
Yeah, so I have some personal circumstances as well. I think I should say them now because I am
Okay.
here. Yeah, so I have 2 highly autistic kids. They are very high level on the spectrum. So we need to have some safe space for them, and they need outdoor activities. Like we have recently placed a play set, and we were not able to place it anywhere in the front yard because most of my front yard is taken up by the septic system and the leach fields. So and it wasn't, when we called the company to set up the playset, they recommended us to not place it on the, because it can damage it. It was quite heavy and big. And so because of that, they have placed it right here. I have brought the pictures of that. It's a very unlevel surface. And we have also been advised by multiple people, multiple doctors that deal with them to have a trampoline. We already have a trampoline. It is of small size. They have outgrown it. Now we are in need of a bigger trampoline, and I have no place to place it everywhere. So I was trying to kill two birds with one stone in this thing. If I remove these trees, that's why I thought I will level these things to make it more usable. And the only place right now is right here in this section where they can, but that is very close to the road. And my kids, they don't understand road safety at all. And they keep on running to our neighbors' houses. This is why I have also requested to put a fence on top of the retaining wall, so that we can provide a safe playing space for them, where they can reduce their hyperness by playing. So that's, but mainly it started with the solar panels. And I already was facing problems because, as I said, placing the place that there was no place. This section right here is all trees and unbalanced. You cannot do anything on this side, and there is a driveway here. So we literally have this much space, and in this space we have leach fields and septic tank here. So that's all. We cannot place a trampoline and play sets on this area. So it looks like it is a 0.5 acre land, but it's not useful for our purposes at the moment. Let's say it that way, because we need to have some play sets and trampolines on it. And they are twins. They are both two boys. They are both autistic. I have mentioned this in my application up to some extent. So, yeah, that's when we bought the house, we were not aware that we moved from England, United Kingdom. We are British. We've just moved like 1.5 years ago. We don't understand this septic system at all. I used to live in Greater England, Greater London in England. I have never seen this thing in my life, and I don't know the challenges of. I don't want to break it, to be honest. That would be the last thing. So, yeah.
Okay, Eric, you have a question?
Sure. So, other than maybe a solar company saying they might like those 2 trees down in the open space area, don't see a need for that. As far as the trees on his property, that stream is showing up as blue. Is that intermediate or is that perennial?
I think so. And this, if some of you may recall, a notice of intent was after a fact. Notice of intent was filed for 45 Village View. They did some site work with kind of leveling out portions of the backyard, and that it was delineated. It's shown on GIS as a stream. But when it was delineated, the wetland, it was a bordering vegetated wetland.
Okay.
So there's a bordering vegetated wetland associated with the
I'm
stream.
thinking that he probably has some rights to take down the trees in his property, and that's going to give him the room that he needs for, the backyard, for a playing area for the kids. I just don't see the necessity to take the 2 in the open space.
Well,
Just to optimize, the solar panel on his roof.
so, there are 8 trees on your property.
Yes.
Ignoring tree 11, there are 8 trees on your property
Yes.
that you want to take down
Yes.
to put on the solar panel. Would you be looking for replacement trees being planted since?
How close are they to are they all of them?
Well, and actually, yeah, at this
I
point,
can't.
we're not
quite tell.
looking at an actual wetland, we're looking at what GIS tells us.
Right, and so I kind of, in my mind, where, and I guess, and again, where kind of the kind of site work is also proposed to the property line,
To that part, yeah, right.
and
Well, that was the leveling.
yeah, that was kind of, associated
retaining
with,
wall.
Oh, so this is what he wants to level and then put up a retaining wall?
or level
Cut the
with
trees
retaining
level.
wall
Cut the trees level.
and then fence in. Again, where the work is being proposed to the, to the property
We need
line.
to see more stuff.
Right, and so that's kind of my question to the commission is, does the commission, is this the level of a request for determination of applicability, is the determination of applicability the appropriate
This is a
finding?
notice of intent.
And with, and if it is, a notice of intent, what information, should there be, to provide direction to the property
Well, he
owner?
wants to put up a retaining wall, and he wants to do filling. I have no idea what the height of that retaining wall is and how much filling he wants to do. I know he wants to take down 8 trees, but I don't have any distances or anything like that from the resource into his yard. So, that would be some of the
The
information.
height is mentioned, we will not exceed 4 feet at any point. No, actually, there is only
Yeah, but
one.
I don't know the distance from that 4-foot retaining wall to that
Well,
resource, the stream area.
And this is also I looked at it on GIS, and in this area, there are steep grades as there were on the adjacent property. So one of my questions also had been, with putting in these retaining walls to level
How is that
up,
going to affect his abutters?
is how that affects runoff on his property, runoff to adjacent homeowners' properties, and runoff that feeds the wetlands.
So I can answer that a bit, to be honest, because I just got that question today as well. So this property has the highest, it has a very high level, so we are never gonna impact, this level is gonna be still lower than that level. And this point right here is the lowest point right now. We are not gonna change we definitely, it's gonna impact the flow of water. I mean, it will probably slow it down or maybe fasten it up. I don't know, because this land at the moment is not well surfaced. But we are gonna take the same elevation that it is at the moment, like this will be the lowest point, and we are trying to achieve a level so the water flows from here and goes there. And this is the flow of streams. Stream goes from here to there. This is all going down. So this is the point where we will be 4 feet tall, but we will be significantly lower than everything else here. It's still not gonna, this is why it is divided into 2 levels, because this level is gonna be higher than this level. That's why we need a wall here and 2 steps here that I have shown here. So the water will still flow in same direction that it is flowing today. The flow of water is,
I see what you're trying to do, but we don't have enough information presented to us to make sure what you're talking about is actually going to work the way it should.
Well, and the other, I think from Matt's comment about the filing that we had for 45 Village View Road next
Yeah.
door is, in fact, when they had an engineered plan, it wasn't a stream, it was actually a wetland. So some of this is, do we treat what GIS is showing us as the true state of the wetland resources?
So why don't you guys do a site visit?
Because I would like to see.
Or see something more in the plan first?
I would like to see something a wetland scientist tells me it's a wetland or it's a stream. I'd like an engineer, I'd like a scientific person to tell me what the wetland resources are so that we can make an informed decision.
We should probably put together a short list for the applicant.
Well, does the NOI, would the NOI actually,
Like the health of the trees, the
Well, yes.
way they're leaning, which one,
pictures of
that kind of thing.
pictures of the trees if there's disease or damage that indicates they're going to fail?
And then from DEP on the balancing of,
And so, kind of to that point, Lauren found a DEP policy from 2017, kind of, that focuses kind of on avoidance, minimizing, and mitigation. Again, the DEP, in my kind of quicker review of the DEP policy, the avoid is avoiding the siting of, and again, I also feel that the policy is much more for large-scale solar fields as opposed to residential, on top of a roof, but, avoiding work in a wetland resource area as much as possible, which, again, this is work in the buffer. Minimizing, are there other alternatives with which, could achieve similar results while, with less impact to the buffer area. And again, that's kind of, kind of to the point of, having a tree health, a report on the tree health, something functional for that. But then lastly, the mitigation. So in the event of, an area needing to, a jurisdictional area or buffer to them needing to be altered, needing to be affected, how can the impacts and the loss of the native vegetation be minimized, with mitigation plantings or seed mixes or something like that, so it's not just kind of a net loss of habitat functions. And so I can certainly, again, Lauren shared that with me this afternoon, or late this afternoon before the meeting. So, that is certainly something I'm, intended to provide to the property owner and circulate to the commission as well in advance, both in the meeting packet and also just kind of for some light bedtime reading.
No. So is that blue line, dark blue line, the retaining wall?
Yes, that is the retaining wall.
So if water is coming down this side from the right to left.
Yeah,
and
this
there's a lot-
way. Yeah, it
Right.
goes.
If there's a lot of water, is there a chance that where it says level 1, that whole area gets waterlogged?
So, sorry, I did not catch that.
Water's coming down this way.
Yes.
No, like let's say there's a big rain.
From here to, from
From here.
Right.
Yeah, so my house is downhill, so water comes from here and it goes down
Right.
that way.
So
yeah.
the wall might stop water from going
No,
down.
no, actually, we are, so this wall is gonna, so the soil is gonna be filled to, we are not, the wall is not gonna
So
go
the
up.
water would if there was a heavy rain, the water would overtop the
Yeah.
top of the wall
Yeah.
and just sheet flow down. So
So-
this is where, this is starting to get into where we like to see a lot more detail, engineering. The other thing is, this is also going off GIS, so are there staked bounds at the back corner of your property so that you know where you're
Yeah.
planning to put the
So
wall?
we have done a property survey.
Okay.
And there are stakes everywhere. It's
Okay.
fully marked.
Yes, I think we really need full notice of intent plan to review all the different components you're requesting and make sure that we understand, that it's designed so that it will not have adverse impacts.
Or if we even allow it.
Oh, yeah.
I need to know the distances to the resource area to what he wants to do in the proposed, activity, so.
Yeah, and one thing might be is that the retaining wall is not at the property edge, maybe it's 5 or 10 feet in, and you have replacement plantings outside the retaining wall of trees that are not going to grow
Yeah,
high enough
so,
to
yeah.
impact your solar.
I am happy to, because there is enough space after this point between the stream. This is an intermittent stream, by the way, because I live here. It runs only few times in a year, so I don't know when. I have not exactly.
We're really looking for somebody to flag it out and do.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we need the
So-
plans and we
So-
need the project detail that a
Yeah.
notice of
So-
intent would provide.
There is enough space between here and here, at least 10, it should be 15, 20 feet. I measured it, I cannot give you the exact figure, but it's sufficient, and there are many free spots. We can plant all
But
those
that's-
trees back here.
Well,
But
So
that's
I am happy to do that. Yeah.
I mean, to your point, you're proposing to plant on
Yeah.
on the parcel that's subject to the conservation
Walls
restriction.
are right on the boundary.
Right, I think, to Margaret's point of, the retaining walls,
Trying to be set back.
set back onto your property wholly, so that, and then any plantings can be still, once again, on your property, I think that's the, kind of the point she was trying to make.
If you want it on my property, then the only space that is available is on this line. If I get some low height trees, maybe I can plant them on this
Okay.
side, yeah.
We're not getting to where we need to get to.
So,
So you can tell them.
Noel, you have a
That's one
question?
point. All trees are not equal, so for those 8 trees, we should probably figure out how big, how tall, get those details too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Matt gonna work with him?
Yeah, and I think if we're headed to an NOI plan or a notice of intent filing, are there any questions or comments from members of the audience? Marilyn?
Aren't you looking for
Please,
like an elevation drawing?
Can you come to the mic and tell us who you are for the minutes?
I'm sorry. I'm Marilyn Day, 51 Graniteville Road. I think what you want is an elevation drawing, coming down with elevations.
And yeah, but that would, when we do a notice of intent, the plans that go with that include the elevations and a whole lot more.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, I should just simply tell that because I think I cannot show it here. So this purple line is an existing retaining wall. And it's a very tall retaining wall. There is a fence here because I think it exceeds 8 feet. So this level is gonna be very low as compared to this one. Obviously, we are not trying to match this level with that level. And this level with that, they are significantly lower than what level already is there, So,
But we simply don't have enough
Right.
information on this plan to be able to make a determination on yes or no. So we need a plan
And-
that has more engineering detail on it.
But also, more engineering detail, the scope of work is significant enough, we're probably gonna part of a notice of intent filing is that we will issue order of condition, assuming we approve the project, we would issue, special conditions that describe and provide the conditions under which the work can be performed. So I think,
And what needs to be done to maintain it after the fact.
right, so at this point, it's a positive determination that we need.
To
This-
go to a notice of intent.
Yes, and the determinations, in my mind, based upon the commission's discussion, that would be applicable would be 3, the work described on reference plans and documents is within an area subject to jurisdiction under the Act and will remove, fill, dredge, or alter that area. Therefore, said work requires the filing of a notice of intent. It's not 3, it's 4. The work described on the reference plans document is within the buffer zone and will alter an area subject to jurisdiction under the Act. 5, the area and/or work described on reference plans and documents is subject to review and approval by the Westford Conservation Commission pursuant to the following municipal wetland ordinance and bylaw, which is the Westford non-zoning wetland bylaw, chapter 171. And then that would be it. It would be 4 and 5. Yeah, 4 and 5, which would require the filing of a notice of intent if the commission feels that the scope of work, due to its proximity, due to its the site work in terms of grading and filling, and
We're
would
gonna
require.
we're gonna need to be able to have the notice of intent and go through that process so we can make the determination of whether or not we can accept it.
So can Matt help him through that?
So,
No.
do you have questions about what we've just been deciding?
no, but I have to say one important thing very quickly. So I am under a lot of pressure at the moment because I am going to give you some factual information. So the big beautiful bill is gonna remove the solar incentive, which is a very significant amount, 30%. That made me do this thing very quickly, to be honest. I wasn't that much aggressive before, because it's gonna end December 31st, 2025 will be the last date. Any system that is installed afterwards will be, they will not give 30% tax credit for that, because it's 30% is a lot of money. So it's a big solar panel system, because the property size is 3,000 square feet. So that's and if I don't cut these trees, it's a clean, I am sacrificing trees for a clean energy. That's all I want to say. If I don't, you can only achieve one thing at one time. So if I don't cut these trees and install these solar panels, it's a big risk, because that system is a white elephant. You have installed it, it's not gonna do much. You will still be paying, you still be using the energy that is made by burning gas or whatnot, and buying it from the grid. So it will become an additional hassle, because it's not performing it's not doing anything useful. So that's all.
Whether or not you were able to, the pressure you're under to install these solar panels to get a credit doesn't really have a bearing on the process we need to go through to make the determination as to whether or not we can allow the activity to occur.
And so I guess to make sure that we've kind of looked at it completely, you have bundled, I believe you started the filing with the desire to remove trees so you can install the solar, and then you thinking about what else you wanted to do was when it came to leveling the backyard.
Yes, that was
stuff like that.
afterwards, yes.
So,
It's gone beyond the initial intent.
yes.
Yes, I admit that, that's correct.
And because of that, it warrants the notice of intent filing.
Right.
If the discussion and request was solely based on the request to remove trees for the installation of the solar, would that scope still be?
Still require a notice of intent, 'cause I don't have the resource area delineated.
No, I mean, but in terms of,
But
if the commission, if that's the information that the commission, have the resource area delineated, a plan prepared showing the trees, in their locations there too, but it would still be the scope of, would the request for determination of applicability still be the appropriate filing and?
You mean segmented, so we're just looking at the tree
Right,
portion right now? We'd need additional information from him.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
but we could continue,
We don't want to segment.
Yeah, and we don't advocate segmenting, because we like to look at a project in its entirety, and we already know the applicant is seeking to do more. So why would I split it up that doesn't really suit our best interests?
So this solar system is a $46,000 system, If it doesn't perform, it's a very big loss for me. So,
Well,
Right,
if
I want-
it doesn't perform, you simply don't have a property that's suitable for solar.
yeah, that's why I'm here, yeah. That's-
And maybe that's what we need to let him know, whether or not he can take them down, and therefore the solar's viable or it isn't. But it came to us for removal of tree,
Yes.
and now it's something more.
Mhm.
Because I want to be transparent. That's why I put in everything in a single go, I don't want to,
And he
This
came to
is-
us not
No,
saying.
and I know.
I will
but-
not do,
well, let's
I will not do even a single inch of work without permit.
No,
That's
I
it, I'm, this is me. This is what I have learned in England. They are also like here,
Oh, yeah.
very
Trust me.
We
restricted,
appreciate it.
So this is what I am trying to, I don't want to do anything because I don't
We've
want to play with
we've
them.
made people who filled in take it out.
Okay, so in terms of the path forward, to look at the whole project, removing trees to do solar and to level the yard to make a space for your children, That would require a notice of intent filing. And that would be a positive
Positive
determination?
determination.
Yes, a positive determination for findings 4 and 5.
Okay, so looking at the full filing that came before us, can I have a motion to issue a positive determination for items, because, what's the word, I've never done this before.
I've heard other people just call it a positive determination 4 and 5.
So positive determination for positive determination relevant to items 4 and 5.
Yeah. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion to close the public hearing.
It's not, is it? Yeah, it is. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. So, talk to Matt about what the next steps are.
Yep, the information as discussed that the commission would be looking for, and the can certainly assist and kind of provide some names of firms that are familiar with this type of with this work. Yeah, that type of application and this type of work. I can send you the name of the firm that did your name.
So one thing I should quickly say, because you have already closed it, tree number 6 and 7 has been told, many arbors have told me that they are not healthy trees. But I don't want to pressure you, to be honest, because I want to clearly explain my intent first, I don't want to use it as an excuse. But it can, if it falls on my property, obviously it will increase my insurance, because the insurance will fix it. That's not an issue, but they will. But I'm just saying, I have not intentionally included the report yet, because I want to clarify my intent very clearly. Mine is solar, not based on the health of those trees. But I have been told, I haven't seeked, I have seeked now, because I have been asked to give the health report. And that's what their comments were. So, yeah, I will provide the tree report. That's it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
if a tree report was done on tree 6, well, if you have a tree report,
Yeah.
I would, forward it to Matt, in terms of what would be the,
That's not gonna be part of the.
No, but that's-
Notice of intent unless it comes in under that.
well, it would, because the solar company has said,
You don't want just a
Well-
story on the tree.
right, but I'm
You
just,
want all that information.
I don't want a solar company telling me trees gotta come down for the solar. I want a tree company telling me trees gotta come down because of disease.
okay,
Or safety or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
So-
or whatever.
but yeah,
Because Matthew asked me, sorry for interrupting, Matthew asked me on Monday, I think for report on tree 6 and 7, hazard and health report. So I called the tree company immediately, but I was not able, they viewed the trees today, but they were not able to provide the
Okay.
arbor letter. So that's the thing, so it was asked, by your
Yeah.
team, so that's the reason I called them. But they said that we cannot provide the letter in time, so.
Close the hearing already.
yes.
Right, I mean, and again, with that being on a property that's subject to a conservation
Yeah.
restriction held by the commission, and, there are circumstances with which, trees would be allowed to be, if they are hazardous, kind of to Eric's point, the intent of the conservation restriction was to ensure that 13-acre property or however large it is, stays in its natural and, its natural condition, and the environmental
And
condition.
modifying it to optimize efficiency for your solar panels isn't one of those.
No,
Right,
but
right, but if it-
if they were hazardous, then it becomes.
Yeah, but that's
No,
different.
but
Yeah.
that's when it falls on the property owner, which would be the homeowners association, to come forward and say, we have some trees that have been identified as hazardous, we want to take them down.
But that's not what's happening here.
Correct, but that's that's the path that the hazardous trees on an open space
Yeah.
would take.
I wanted to clarify my
Yeah.
intent. That's why that report is,
Okay.
I did not, never ask for it before, but I have been asked by you guys, so I will provide it, but my intent was solar, that's it.
Okay.
I am clearly honest about my intent.
Okay.
That's it.
So, yeah, so Matt will be in touch with some contact names of firms that do the kind of work that would be needed for your notice of intent filing
Okay.
for the work you want to do. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our 7:35 PM agenda item. It's a continuation of a public hearing for Zalm Living LLC, 37 Powers Road.
This has the applicant's representative, as requested, the public hearing be continued without discussion to the commission's September 24th meeting.
Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing until September 24th?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to our 7:40, we have another 7:35 PM agenda item. Continued public hearing for Jack and Clara Farmstead LLC, 400 Littleton Road.
All right. Hello, everyone. Again, for the public record, my name is David Cowell, a senior wetland scientist with Hancock Associates. This is the second hearing in this matter. We had the opening hearing, and early this week, we held a site walk, which was attended by many of you. And I understand that tonight is really more of an update to go over what we talked about on the site walk, to make sure that Hancock Associates has our ducks in a row to make plan revisions in hopes of coming back before you at the next hearing and in hopes of getting us further progressed. I would ask the commission if do you guys want to go over the what we had talked about at the golf course? And again, I'm here to field any other questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so at the site visit, Marilyn was there, Noel was there, Jim was there, Ann was there, and I was there.
That's right.
So, but just as part of the public record for recording the site visit, those were
Absolutely.
the ones in attendee. So where do we start?
Okay. Well, it sounded like we went out there, I think you guys did have some, you had a few questions just about how the net would be erect and take it down, some conditions for the seasonality and having, at this time of year it will come down and it'll be erect again at this time of year. There was some questions just about whether or not 18 inches of daylight was suitable for wildlife passage. My response to that is yes, it's a fairly standard height that anything aside from if you had a bear or a moose go through there, anything, even white-tailed deer can go under there. And I think the nets are at a size that they really won't entangle with antlers or anything like that. So I don't think there's an issue with wildlife passage. We did talk about there was an area right now laying in between the driving range in the pitch and putt golf course, which is currently mown and maintained as grass. And this lies within what otherwise would exist as a wetland swale, which surprisingly is even mapped as a perennial stream. Years ago, we came in and we had that presumption of perennial overturned based on no flow and frankly not even a channel at that point. But we did talk about whether or not we could afford maybe some mitigation in the form of seeding or planting that area with a native herbaceous grass mix and allowing it to grow in, consistent with there's a span of what I would estimate 60 or 70 feet between the tee box from you got it right there, and then downstream to just about there. This is Matt's on it. He's showing this area. So
That's also a T over here, isn't it?
Yep, that's the other tee box.
Yep, that's it. So that's right. So on that second tee box, the one thing we did talk about was just a concern for putting in things that would grow to a height that would obstruct. That tee box hits over to that green over there. Thank you. And if we had just asked if we could set like a height requirement of like 3 feet, and if it grows to more than 3 feet, we can mow it or weed whack it and keep it down and maintain it at 3 feet. And then we were asking if we could, mow it once annually, just as maintenance to prevent it from succeeding into shrubs and things of that nature. But I guess the only constraint from an operational standpoint is not having vegetation grow to a height that those that are pitching and putting off of that tee can't see the flag on the green of where they're hitting their ball. There was some concern that, again, with increased vegetation in there, golf balls would be lost in there. We had talked about if we were to maintain it with a once annual mow in the fall, it would be a great opportunity to retrieve golf balls that end up in there. Kind of tough to abate golf balls between a driving range and a pitch and putt golf course, so. I think that's it, and again, most of you guys were in attendance, so this is an opportunity to let me know if I'm missing anything from our dialogue and what other items we may have.
Jim?
Jim?
All right. You did touch on it, but that's the only part that concerned me is from the end of the driving range up to these 2 tee boxes. From here, there's a tree in the way to the green, so I don't know how, and this is the area I'm concerned with right here, the wetland, the stream. It's got to be left to naturalize, because it's being cut now,
Right.
up to the end of the driving range tees, and it really should not be. So that area from right where the hand is up to the 2 tee boxes, I think has to be left alone. I don't know if that means you want to move your tee boxes or what, but I think you have to come up with some kind of a proposal that allows that area to naturalize and meets your needs for the game.
Without mowing it once annually or maintaining it?
Whatever it takes.
So would mowing it once or twice annually be acceptable
That's just going to cut it down.
along the edge of the,
Yeah,
I think he wants it undisturbed.
the area back here at the range, by the tees
Right.
of the driving range isn't cut annually. All that stuff was growing.
right?
And that's the wetland, that's where the stream is, right through there.
Yeah, I agree.
Something's gotta happen between the end of the driving range tees and those boxes.
Well, Jim, we talked about this in the field, and this is contradictory, I think, to what we had talked about. We asked if we could annually mow it once a year, because we can't permit it to grow
We
into
talked about that.
succession.
There's no decisions made at the,
Oh, no, yeah, it was, yeah, so we'll discuss it here.
I did express the opinion that that's the area of concern to me, and it still is.
That's fine.
So you're talking like between the edge of wetland lines?
Right about here is where the cutting starts.
Okay.
This is all grown, there's nothing grown here,
So
it's just wet
you're-
grass.
But from where that strip along the stream is,
Yep.
if you arc towards the other, let's see if I can do this. Which is
The red one.
the red one, okay. So are you, with this area here where it was also mowed, are you concerned about that being mowed regularly? Or your primary concern is just along the stream channel?
Mostly, it's along the wetland, that's the area
Okay.
of concern.
So you would want to see, your thoughts are to allow it to renaturalize along the wetland, and if the area that's a wedge towards the farther tee box, that could still
I don't know how they're gonna use that other than that tee box where the hand is now. I don't know how that's gonna work. 'Cause if this is left to grow, and the tree, there's also a tree right here. Doesn't show it on the.
What was, or was that tree right
There's a
next
tree
to?
in the green?
No, there was a
No,
tree
no,
near
there's a tree
the,
here. There was a tree here. So when you stood here, you'd have to go almost through the tree to get to the flag. That's
It looked like a direct line of sight from that tee box to that flag.
or were
without
you
the
thinking
first
about the tree next
first
to the
place.
other tee
Whatever.
off?
It don't even really concern me.
Okay.
The tree's not of concern. I mean,
Right,
we
the
could-
tree isn't
right.
a concern, and neither is the path of the golf balls. But the area of the wetland is.
Okay.
So the wetland, but not, and where I was going with my question was, is the wedge that's really buffered to the wetland that spans in front of the farther tee box, is that an area where you would be okay if they continued to mow that lower, if they allowed it to renaturalize or grow taller along the stream channel?
The stream channel's gonna get growth.
if the stream channel gets, if there's growth, if there's vegetation along the stream channel,
Yeah.
to the side of that,
That's what I'd like to see, yeah.
okay, but to the side of that, where we saw the lower, not mowed to green condition, but mowed lower, would you be,
That's okay.
that's okay?
But
So,
the path of the stream, I'd like
that's
that
where your
area-
concern is.
I'd like that area to be naturalized. yeah.
Okay.
Sure, I'd love to respond. Yeah, as we discussed in the field, and again, this is a public hearing, so we're introducing some of the things that we had talked about. Kemble Farms is willing to renaturalize that area with a native grass mix or an herbaceous vegetation that will grow to a greater height and naturalize that area. They will still request to mow that once annually and to maintain it in an herbaceous condition such that it does not grow into a taller shrub, woody vegetation that would obscure the line of sight for golf balls.
So not as tall as the upstream area where we saw.
In most of the upstream area, the tall grass is all reed canary grass, and that's an invasive species that's detrimental in the first place. And I think without maintenance, that's just going to feed on down that channel. But as discussed with Kimball Farms, our client, they said that they are willing to seed that area and naturalize it, so long as we can still mow it once annually in the fall during the dormant growing season. I recently had an OADR case at Mass DP talking about if that's an impact, and they talk about the destruction of vegetation is considered an impact. And we counter-argued that this does not result in the destruction of vegetation because herbaceous vegetation grows annually, and as long as you let that vegetation go through the entire growth cycle to flower and go to seed, that mowing it in the fall has no repercussions of destruction of vegetation because it will grow back in the springtime, back to the same heights that it was the previous growing season. So it's simply a mechanism of maintenance by which we prevent this from succeeding into trees and shrubs that would, in fact, obscure that tee box. So anything other than that, I'd have to go back to the client and ask them if they're willing to assent to anything more.
So, other members of the
Yep.
commission?
The other thing, I was just going to offer too, we could
You
add.
want to use the color pointer? Yeah, that thing.
If it helps. But again, on this swale right here, we could put phenol markers on opposite side of it that say, do not disturb. It would be in the conditions that it could be a condition that you are, not to touch this other than a once annual mowing to be performed at the end of the growing season between
Essentially, when
September
the
15th.
netting comes down, that kind of.
What's that?
It would be roughly the time when the netting comes down.
I would think so, yeah, at the close of the season, once they stop operations, they're no longer operational.
I could go along with that kind of thing.
So that the choice of,
If it was that late in the year and it was once.
and so the choice of seed mix would be plants that do an annual cycle so that
Yeah.
it would make sense to mow in the fall to drop the seeds. You choose plants that don't grow too tall so you don't lose
That's right.
visibility to the whole.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I would recommend one of the native seed mixes from New England wetland plants, which consists of a diversity of native species that are all herbaceous, such that those herbaceous species are annuals that will come back the following year without resulting in any detriment to the vegetation. It's simply a management of height.
Okay.
So,
People have,
yeah.
no,
One thing I noticed there, that the part where it was higher, the grass,
Yep,
there were a lot of bees there. It was very active.
yep.
And, that's what we'd like to see.
That's not a bad thing. No, that's a positive thing. I am
yeah.
I am huge on pollinator habitat. I incorporate it into a lot of my plants. That it's, there's a lot of different species. I mean, even we put like some bee balm in there, some bearded foxglove. All of these are wonderful native flowering species that would promote pollinators from using that area, right?
And so your proposed seed mix would be something that would have gone dormant so the bees aren't around when mowing time comes?
Right, yep,
Okay.
after the conclusion of the growing season, sometime mid-fall, before risk of snow and frost.
Lauren?
My only comment
Yep.
with that is insects do live in dormant plants. So
Sure.
cutting them, you are killing whatever animal, insect does habitat that part. So the vegetation comes back, it's just the insects that are
Sure.
wintering there.
Yep. Most insects root in woody vegetation or stuff like that.
There are bees who go in goldenrod, and there's insects that go into stems. I don't know what you're growing there. I don't know what's, but just as a comment.
All right.
So some of this would be potentially also influencing the choice of planted seed mix species.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not sure what insects do go in there, but insects do hibernate in
Sure.
vegetation.
To that point, the annual mowing, what height above ground would that take it down to? 6 inches?
Yep, that's the other condition that I was also going to offer, is that we would afford, albeit as that grows, we don't want it going more than 3 feet in height. So if we were to mow it annually, it would be close to the ground. But there is another, you can put this in the condition that when mowing blades must be elevated at a certain height above ground surface, which kind of minimizes that disturbance. So you can say 10 inches above ground surface, or 6 to 8 inches above ground surface. We do, yeah, sure. I do recognize your comment, Lauren, that there are certain insects that will bore within goldenrods that have that, but as the wildlife biology in me doesn't think that square footage of, 60 by 4 feet wide of being cut annually would
Every little bit helps.
have any, then we don't need to plant it with, we can plant it with grasses and avoid the flowers.
Other people on board with
I don't want to do that.
planting a specified seed mix along the stream channel, mow it annually, late in the fall, signage, and then the area between where that vegetation is and the maintenance strip on the back side of the ball net, that could continue to be maintained to a lower height, if that's what the applicant wants.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you, Margaret. Thanks.
So if along that stream channel, that's where you're gonna plant the vegetation we've been talking about.
Yes.
There is a sweep of area here that currently is mowed and would be adjacent to the maintenance strip next to the ball netting. Would your applicant continue to want to mow that area to a lower level like it is today?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I think
They're going to want to maintain.
the sense that I'm getting is that the commission is agreeable to that portion continuing to be maintained the way it, mowed the way it is today.
Right.
The one thing that I did, I think I brought it up at the site visit, was in terms of when the netting comes down, when it goes up, the whole process for how to do that.
Yep.
We were looking for an operation and maintenance plan.
Yes. Yep.
So that becomes part of your documentation, so you're not reliant on John Doe who knows how to do it. When he's gone, nobody remembers what to do.
Right. And we're in agreement with that. And we'll produce something like that. And again, it's anything that we put in there can be specified in the special conditions that the applicant will maintain once annually, mowing blades. So all of these things. And as you mentioned signage, I just threw out pheno markers there, but if you do want more visible signage that, just.
They're going to be maintaining the fairways or whatever you call them during the year.
Yeah.
I just don't want somebody to get carried away and just cut it all down.
That's a good point, Jim.
It's got to get marked.
So instead of the pheno markers, which the mowers are not going to find until they hit them with their mower blades and discover them the hard way, why don't we offer some signage on post rails at intervals on either side of it that just says conservation area, no mow.
No mow
Except for the once annual,
in November,
once seasonal,
whatever it is, yeah.
end of the growing season. Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Was there anything else that we talked about at the site visit that we need to make sure gets?
No, just did want to kind of put in the project record that the applicant mailed to Natural Heritage on August 12th.
Yes.
So Natural Heritage has 30 days to review.
Yep.
I imagine they wouldn't take the full 30.
You never know. I know a lot of these state agencies are I don't want to say defunded or understaffed.
So, that being said, the 30 days is the day after the commission's next meeting. So again, if, I know you have some plan changes, the O&M plan, we can certainly kind of, if it's amenable with the commission, we can draft special conditions for review. I would just recommend not closing the public hearing until Natural Heritage has been, comments have been received. So
So we're gonna continue to the 10th?
Yeah, I would like to continue the next hearing to, just in the offhand chance that Natural Heritage doesn't use the whole 30 days and responds with a clean comment letter. And it will afford us the opportunity to provide our draft revisions that will specify the native seed mix, that will specify operations and maintenance details, and anything that needs to be memorialized on the plan. Again, in hopes of aiding you in drafting special conditions that can be directly consistent with the operations maintenance plan and things like that. The once annual mow and maintenance.
Any more questions? Any comments or questions from members of the audience? Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to September 10th?
So move. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
Outstanding. I sincerely appreciate your help in progressing this, and we'll work on those revisions, and we'll hope Natural Heritage.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
So much.
Thank you.
Continuing to our 7:40 PM agenda item, it's a request to metal detect on Conservation Commission properties. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, I'm listed as Skip on the agenda, but my formal name is Walter Doucette. And how would you like to proceed? Would you like me to describe what we do, how we go about doing it, or do you have?
yeah, if you have, a 3 to 5 minute, 3-minute elevator pitch, and
Yeah, it won't take that long.
even better.
So after 45 years of working for National Grid and the previous companies and the liquid natural gas storage business, running operating plants, I retired, and it was 3 years ago, and my son and I got into metal detecting as a hobby. It very much mimics fishing, except you get to, you don't have to have the fish mounted, you have it in your hand right off the bat, and it's been a lot of fun. You're working with a piece of machinery it's still a hobbyist tool, but it's very sophisticated, requires a lot of learning, a lot of skill to run it, and we typically go to homes that are pre-1900, the older the better. We've searched some 1600s homes, the yards. We spent the bulk of our time in yards where you can expect to find some interesting, artifacts and such. And the method of it is you find a target and you can see pretty much how deep it is. And depending on the conditions, you can cut an arc so it doesn't disturb the soil as much. Lift it, pull it out, or cut a core plug, and everything is captured in a bin if we're in someone's yard. And then it's put back in, and when we're done, if I were to, well, I've dug probably hundreds of holes in my own yard. It's an 1850 home, and our neighbors. And when we're done, it's pretty surgical. It looks pretty good. And if we modify that to where we are too. So if we're in the backyard and it becomes a field and it's partially grown in a bit there, it's again still carefully done, and it's even easier to hide things. But even if there are some things that are observable, some seams and such, within a day or two they're gone. It's pretty remarkable. And anyway, the whole thing is to get out there and have some fun. We have probably as much fun or more when we get home. We find something of interest, an old button, and let's say a Civil War era button that might have been gilded. After it's been on the ground for 150 years, it just looks like a rusty button, and very little gilding is left. But you can see enough of it to do a lot of research. So we spent a lot of time learning about history, the town history, the town that we happen to be in, and learning about the history of the country. We find all sorts of interesting things that go back and provide that feel of such. And of studying time periods. I found an 1837 Van Buren token from some hard times. So you start reading about the presidents and the economic policy of the time, and it's really pretty intriguing. So anyway, so as a result, I of course know Marilyn Day and Linda over at the Historical Society, and spent some time there and just talk about things. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, I know you have some questions, so,
Jim?
I have to be opposed to this activity. I'm a little concerned, I'm very concerned about it, going and digging up holes all over conservation land without any understanding of what may or may not be there. I think if we were going to get into the historical artifacts business, we wouldn't be splitting 50-50 with anybody. We would be talking with our historical society, and they'd probably be working with a history department at UMass Amherst or UMass Lowell, and we get some advanced information about where we should be looking, what we should be looking for, if anything. So I don't want to get anybody involved in digging up conservation land anywhere in town.
well, the thing about that whole view is there are no historic events in any of the land that, like for instance, comparing it to Lexington Common, where they did actually pay a team to go in and excavate. They found some first shot heard around the world musket balls. That's online to read about. There's nothing like that in town. And if there
Town
were,
Common was a practice field for drilling.
yeah, we're not talking about the town common, though. We're talking about the woods.
You have a question?
No, I'd probably kind of mimic what Jim was saying. I'm not an advocate for metal detecting on the commission's property. It's,
Like Cider Mill Pond.
No, and I get it, and I have two metal
the
detectors.
steel up there,
So
yeah.
I mean, I've done it, I've done it at the beach, I've enjoyed it, I've found many things. And I think there are places to enjoy the hobby that aren't, under the commission's care and custody, so I just, other public properties or places to go, but I don't know if the commission's properties are, the ones that, should be used for metal detecting. So, by and large, I'm in Jim's court.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my view on that is like this. If there's anything of interest there, whatever it might be, it won't be found if no one looks for it. And you'll be missing out as a result of it.
Maybe it's okay that it's not found, maybe it can just sit there. Maybe it's,
Well, it will.
maybe it found its rightful place and it's just as happy where it is. And, a lot of times, people put things places. I always found when, listening to people who metal detected and they tell me they go to cemeteries and they go around headstones and, pull the coins from headstones that people would put to honor somebody, who's passed or something. I always thought that was, not a good thing to do. And, I think that other people from time to time can place things in the woods or put things there and, they're not meant to be found. And, I'm just, I'd let them lie there, and trust me, I have found other places that I can go metal detecting. I can ask, an individual to access his property, or, like I said, go to beaches or other areas. But, I just don't think our conservation lands are where we should be sending people to go metal detecting.
But you do realize that searching a cemetery is against all the ethics of metal detecting, plus it's illegal.
Oh, I know.
Just
because something's illegal doesn't mean that people don't do it.
Yeah, but that's not me.
It happens all the time.
That's not me, though.
But I'm just saying, I'm not an advocate.
Marilyn?
I'm just curious, have you done this in any other area that you've done on conservation property? Any other town or any other?
In Chelmsford, they have the one of the farms that now was bought up by the Conservation Commission in Chelmsford. So there's a field that they've leased to Parleys, and we just thought it'd be nice to go search over there. So we've been reaching out to Carolyn Parley, and she hasn't responded, so we haven't searched. That was our route to go in that direction. But it is true, there are countless places to go metal detecting without even leaving the immediate area. To be honest with you, the conservation land is not very attractive for search because there's very little traffic. East Boston camps, okay, 1930s, so you might have a, Mercury head dime sitting there in the ground that hasn't been found yet. But there's going to be so many pull tabs, it'll be a difficult search. It's the disturbance to the area. You have a couple of boys down by Stony Brook digging up worms. They're going to leave the place and more disturbed than we will. You won't even see what we're doing down there. It's so easy to restore the soil to what it was prior to being there.
But, thinking back to the era that you're interested in for Westford, when so much of it was cleared and farmland, so much of that has been returned to woods.
Yes, yes.
Are you, from what you've described, you've done metal detecting in basically non-wooded areas, and
It's true. It's true.
And that is where you would limit, that is where your plan is to limit your activity, is to non-wooded areas.
Wooded areas are very difficult to dig, to search, very difficult, frustrating, yeah.
And I think, that's a big part of what our properties are.
To be honest with you, I don't expect to spend very much time on conservation land. However, what I could offer, I live opposite the West Chelmsford Methodist Church. We live at the end of, we have our address is 249 Main Street, North Chelmsford, and 48 Nassett Street, Westford. And yes, we do pay 2 tax bills. 98% of our property is Westford. Half a house is in each town, and my wife votes in Westford, I vote in Chelmsford. She served in the Recreation Committee for the town for a number of years. So we're very much invested in the town. When we searched the church property across the street, I got board approval. My son and I searched over there, and I would send an email to the trustees before we started, and then we'd be finished. So what I could say, could offer, is if, let's say there was an area that looked, hey, this looks promising, it's near a traffic zone where there were lots of people, or at some old farm, whatever, I could email Matt and say, how does this look? And then when we go, email him and say, we're going over at 10, we're going to be done by about 2. And then that way it's above board. It's probably a lot more than most metal detectors would offer for sure, but it worked out really well for the church. And it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun over there. We found some very interesting things, and molten glass from 1920 when the church burned down, that kind of thing. And it was pretty interesting.
Jim and Eric, you've kind of weighed in. Do other people have comments or questions they want to ask? Noel?
I think it's interesting what he's doing, because what he said is, which is true, I was thinking that same thing too. If he doesn't do it, unless someone else does it, we don't know who else would. It won't get done. And I don't think the impact, like digging a hole, if it's done carefully, like you said, it's surgical, the impact's not negative. I think, if anything, we'll find something interesting, maybe. But, that's the history of the town.
We'll give you an example. We searched the Spalding House, the John Spalding House on Spalding Road. That was built in 1775. They're celebrating the 250th anniversary this year. Last year we searched it. I found in 1801 a large cent. It's worth about $200, even though it's pretty flat. And I was just thinking about it and asking them what they were doing to prepare for their celebration this year. So I brought the coin over and gave it to them. And so this belongs back at the house here. That was the oldest coin I have for U.S. currency. And but that's the spirit of this whole thing. We meet a lot of wonderful people. And they gave us free reign at their house. We could come and go when we please. We didn't even have to call whether they were home or not. It didn't matter. That these folks are great folks, and let's just do this. Matter of fact, I gave them a silver Barber dime. It was in almost uncirculated condition that come out of the front yard too.
But that's on somebody else's property. That's like church property or whatever, and and you can go to the church and ask them, and they gave you permission to do that, and that's great. I don't necessarily think that we have to provide that permission in this instance for Conservation Commission properties.
Which is in effect, it's the town's property, but it's under our care and custody.
Yeah, and I don't know if I have the right to be, authorizing that on behalf of the town.
Authorizing it or sharing the proceeds or anything like that.
So,
There's something of value in there. If the the splitting offer that you mentioned, that would be something of value to the town that we'd just be giving to somebody.
And so kind of to get to that point, if the commission is amenable to, to this, I would like to go to town council, and because again, there's procurement, there's, to Jim's point about value that it's outside my scope of expertise, and would defer to town council to kind of how to navigate that. But as a first step, is the commission kind of to, or is the commission amenable to, an area that that you have particular, as opposed to, all the conservation, it's, I'd like to go along the,
Oh, where the old mill buildings were.
yeah, in Cider Mill or something like that, a targeted, this is where I want, I'd like to do it here, and, it's, we could certainly, it'd be a little bit more, kind of use it as a pilot to see how it is, and see what the, how it works, what, how it looks a week after they've gone through, and, but again, I defer to the commission in terms of what your
Question?
So one comment was about how do you split proceeds and stuff, like this coin, you can't cut in half, obviously. And then valuation and all that stuff. But the other one was the Historical Society in town. Have you spoken to them? What have they said?
Marilyn's here, and Linda.
What's their point of view?
Linda Green is the one I've been interacting with about this before I contacted Matt. Keep in mind too that if we find something, we're depending on our honesty, and if our honesty wasn't there, I wouldn't be here tonight. I wouldn't have called Matt. So then what we do is we find something, and a lot of times I don't even know what it is, pop it in my bag with steel nails where the coins go in a special place, and then I get home and it's like, oh my gosh, this is really quite special. Then we do a little research on it, and depending on what it is, then we would contact the Historic Society and ask for some subject matter expertise to come to take a look at it. And all these decisions are going to be based on interacting with an official way, in an appropriate way, to find out where we should go with this whole thing. And by the way, finding things of value, monetary value, is exceedingly rare. I mean, exceedingly rare. And coin collectors don't want coins that have been excavated. They want coins that have been sitting around and getting colored and taking on age by parents. Pull up an 1891 dime that looks like it just fell in the ground yesterday. I mean, pristine. And while others are damaged by the process too, even silver. But there'll be a process to determining if there's any historic significance or monetary value. It's totally above board. No one gets rich metal detecting. You know that then. I don't do beaches because they're...
I can tell you that I have found things of monetary value. I have found, a fair amount of gold too. And other things like that. So it's not always historical.
Yeah.
The places you would be looking at, there could be likelihood of people losing jewelry like that. And I'm assuming that's jewelry that you're going to put in your pocket. And again, if you open up the door to do this here, then you open up the door to anybody to do this. And, I really need to think about not only this request, but future requests that you'll get and others looking.
Because this becomes a baseline.
Yeah, and I can see this has been our first request, but it certainly won't be our last. And I just really think that, I don't think we have a proper approach. And again, I don't think we have the right to authorize people going on town property and searching it for artifacts and other treasures. I don't believe that's our place to do that.
Are there any comments?
Well, I was going to say we don't find much. I found one gold band, and we were looking for a lost gold band.
That is you. That is simply you.
Yeah.
I'm saying other people have more luck. I have had more luck, and I can tell you that I don't know if the town really just wants to open its public lands to have people doing that.
Well, there's been no one before me because they just go out and do it. And there won't be anybody after me because they go out and do it. But if I find something of interest, at least you'll have a shot at seeing it, whereas you won't
I don't
otherwise.
necessarily need to see it. I don't necessarily need to try to make money off of it. I think, just because I don't see it doesn't mean the town's history isn't there. I don't go digging up things to verify that they're there or not, some things can be left lying in the ground.
Are there any comments or questions from members of the audience? Okay. Okay, so
Wait a second. Marilyn Day, still at 51 Graniteville Road. I think the board needs to come up with a policy. Come to the, just give them your name. You want to do it here, you want to do it there. Set up a policy.
and some of it the policy may also be that we set certain sites off limits.
Sure, develop the policy.
I just don't know where you want people to be searching, and I don't know what the town wants.
I don't want them digging anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Unless it's done with professional, educational guidance, like from a history department
Or an archaeological.
Sure, anything, whether it's any of the, we're loaded with universities around here with big history departments, any of them, if they were guiding something, I'd be much more amenable to it. But otherwise, I don't want people digging up our land.
I'm happy to see people go and use them at beaches and do all that stuff, but I really, like Jim says,
Okay.
I think there are suitable places and other places that should be left alone.
Does somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we can approve the request at this time.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And all those against? Okay.
Anyone abstained?
And it doesn't mean we don't respect what you do,
Right.
But we don't forget other things, and
Jeff Hall did a video on, some kind of, down in Nantucket, down by the beach down there, they had a big, like a summer camp type thing where people would come from all over for recreational opportunities. A lot of the lots down there used to be part of this activity. Those would be a place to look at. Private properties, so you talk with.
Right. The Charles Moore, the States, the Edwards, we've searched Williams, the Edwards,
The
Howard.
golf course down in that vicinity of.
Oh, it's endless. It's endless places to search, and they're be more fruitful because there's a lot more traffic there.
And there was
I
back,
just-
50, 100 years ago, there was a lot.
Right. Yeah, our neighbors home. He was partners with William C. Edwards, business partners. So there's all sorts of places, and this was just an interesting idea. And thanks for your.
We appreciate you being above board and coming and asking, but yes, this is, it's under our care and custody, but it's the town's land, and we're really kind of hesitant at this point.
Yeah, you've
to make
nothing to
a
gain and
decision.
something to lose.
And it just,
we don't
it's,
want to find out if we have something.
Right. Understood.
but yeah, it just, we tend, our approach to care and custody is basically allowing the land to be the way it is, and for people to have the access to walk through it. And enjoy it, but yes, no altering, no doing anything on the property, not taking stuff away, stuff like that. So yeah, that's been kind of.
No, we appreciate that and respect that because we really love Westford and we love the land that you've gone to the trouble to procure. And we'll continue to enjoy it no matter whether it be above ground or below ground, or whatever. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Moving on to our 7:45 PM agenda item, it's East Boston Camp Stony Brook Conservation Area discussion to determine whether to enter negotiations for Teamworks Adventure Camp lease extension.
So I can start this. Following up from the commission's last meeting and looking at the multiple paths forward, I wanted the commission my thought was to have the commission discuss and kind of figure out the next steps, whether it's negotiate the existing lease agreement, an extension to the existing lease agreement, with respect to price, extend and negotiate with respect to price and, other terms and conditions. Go back out to an RFP if, and kind of option 4 is if commissioners need more time to kind of consider, again, I'm, presenting this tonight, based upon discussions with town council and kind of their review of the lease agreement. If a 3-month extension, of the lease just, with the intent to, kind of, get more information and go forward. Certainly welcome questions.
Jim?
The biggest concern I have with going forward is you gotta know the answer to those 2 questions, both from Westford Land Preservation Foundation. We have answers from Andrea yet about what can we do with the roads?
Well, I mean, and so
How many cars are allowed, how many vehicle trips on the road each day? Those are the 2 numbers we need to know. Because if we're making significant changes to the lease, I think then it's a new RFP. If we're making negligible changes to the RFP, then I think we can use the extension clause if somebody wants to extend, if someone wants to extend the lease.
You mean, so.
If we're making significant changes, like we're imposing new traffic standards, or we're putting a new requirement on for them to maintain the road in a certain condition, or to where they can maintain it with grading, or where they can do it with asphalt or whatever.
Well, that's us maintaining,
Not
that's,
necessarily. It depends.
can,
Can anybody maintain it? What and how? The answer to those 2 questions I keep asking, but I haven't heard any answers yet.
So, I mean, this is the lease expires because myself in, December of 2020 did not think to extend it out. The contract, the terms go through August of 2025, annually through 2025. So the lease agreement is, ends on
Next
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah, I don't actually know when. Friday for all intents and purposes. So, if the commission is intending to, negotiate and, try it, that's information that you guys, I need from, you. Or is it, where we are based upon where we're at with the timing of the lease agreement, the variables of, to answer Jim's question about, what will be permitted by the Land Preservation Foundation in terms of vehicle trips, or the CR grantee again, in terms of vehicle trips and, kind of operational parameters. If that's stuff that we're going to need, I think we need, I think going to an RFP where it's, we can discuss that with, get their input included in the RFP, and then, it goes out to, we solicit proposals and it gets reviewed. What's the commission's feelings and, kind of their.
So no.
To Jim's point, have you heard anything from Andrew?
They've, I don't, are you representing,
Best I can.
standing in for Ellen, who's
The point of contact, right?
right, and the.
That's who we gotta get it from, because in the past, we've had inputs from different people, and it didn't turn out to be.
And she's unable to attend tonight's meeting. Ellen Hardy the director was here. She has also commitments tonight, and you're not number 3 in
Nancy's here, so
That's right. So Nancy Rosinski. So because we're talking about the traffic, right? Because that was a big issue.
That's one of the topics, yeah.
Right, but that was a big one.
Yes, yes.
And, I think it was almost a year and a half ago.
Yes.
There was supposed to be a meeting. And it was supposed to be last fall. That never happened either. But, the intent all along, as you may all recall, was to have a meeting between Teamworks, the Rec Department, the Land Preservation Foundation, members of this commission, and Highway, if you thought that was important, to talk about, Because from the foundation standpoint, I will tell you that the traffic going up that road, they feel violates the CR.
And have they put that in writing? Have they, because the CR says that if we're doing something you believe is in violation, you should be notifying us through the CR, the notification process. Has that happened?
I can't speak to that, I would suspect probably not. Oh,
Okay, and it just this is where, yes, we really need people to be clear about if something needs to change, what is it that needs, what are the parameters that define an acceptable change?
But if I could continue, I
Okay.
think really, we're the foundation and, I was hoping to be part of that as well. We wanted to brainstorm with all the stakeholders, right? Because we understand, there's needs of the camps. So how can, the foundation work with the camps and the commission to say, okay, we know you gotta get the kids up there. Let's work together to find that there's a way to get them up there that has a much less impact than is currently going on. And so for the foundation to come back and take one car, right? Well, they're trying to work with the people that are using that property to try to come up with a win-win, solution for everybody. And so, when, Ellen pulled me aside, because she had to leave, the foundation still wants that meeting to happen to try to talk to all the appropriate people and work together to come up with something that, everyone can agree to.
But that was also part of what was presented to the commission, what was it, August 13th? That in our meeting, in the meeting packet, TeamWorks had put all that information together, had come to us with 4 options. In fact, they came forward and presented something that they had tried in 2022 that was not successful. They came to us at our August 13th meeting and presented 4 options to be reviewed. So they've been going off looking at what's feasible for them. They've brought it to us. And I guess I'm not, it's kind of like, it's very challenging to move this thing forward.
So I don't really see it challenging if you get all the right people in a room and talk together. That's what you gotta do. No one's doing that.
But that also.
Which is what we need to do.
No, well, a meeting was supposed to be called several times and it never, and
Right.
not by the foundation, but
It's
just.
not accusatory, I'm just saying we haven't been able to do that. So
I don't know why it hasn't. It's not,
I don't
not
know.
that hard to do, so.
Well.
With all due respect, it's like, that's how you get good solutions, right? You put the right people in a room, work together.
Well, let's set up a meeting.
So is the commission amenable to extending the current terms of the lease 3 months so that we,
Just for purposes of negotiations?
to figure out
Decide
what,
to go into negotiations?
right, yes.
I'm fine with that.
So am I.
Okay. So can you say that a little bit more slowly so I can say as,
Sure.
okay, so, because what you said, there, between
I'm
what,
amenable to extending the term, the lease under the current terms and conditions for a period of 3-4 months, whatever.
Go 4 months.
4 months for purposes of continuing discussions with the current leaseholder.
okay,
Second.
all those in favor? Aye.
And so we need to get dates too.
But, okay, so, and I
And
guess,
next to that is the commission, because I know Noel was included in that previous kind of working group with Margaret and Jim. Is there anybody else who wants to, be designated, for, and
has the flexibility to attend meetings?
no, okay, if the commission is fine with, Margaret and Jim kind of being designated as the, sole representatives to figure, to work on behalf of the commission and negotiate. And,
I think that's adequate representation.
okay, no, that's, just wanted
And if you
to,
need voices, we'll have some mini meeting. What about including?
yeah, no, but for the commission itself, again,
Okay, so
as a
that's-
public body, that, that's my greatest concern right now.
Okay, and so you have 2 people from the commission,
Yes.
and so we will need people from the Westford Land Preservation Foundation, and we would also, and as well as representative from TeamWorks, And from the rec department?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So you can have a solution.
Well, we have a next
Well,
step.
You have a group.
Well, that doesn't mean you can't get a solution, I'm not
Did
negative.
she mention public works too? Do you need,
I mean, again, this is the,
this is more principle, right?
in terms of, this is, again, the lease agreement, you know.
The lease agreement does not extend to maintaining the road.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on.
The possibility of camp does though. That's directly involved. The maintenance of the road is one of the questions for Westford Land Preservation Foundation. What can we do to the road? Can we put down that scraped up asphalt topping that comes off? Can we do regular? Can we do concrete? Can we do asphalt? Some of them are no's, some of them are maybe, some of them are yes, some of them are yes in certain places, no in others. But what can we do?
So, and if I'm hearing you correctly, so Teamworks is a component of the amount of vehicle traffic. And what you're saying is there's also a very serious question for the Westford Land Preservation Foundation that says
The conditions of the road.
the conditions of the road, which we hear from both parents, people participating in the camps, and general residents as well. And so it becomes a larger
What
issue
can we do?
for the Westford Land Preservation Foundation. What can we do?
So we can maintain the camp.
So we can maintain, but
With
so we,
integrity, that's all.
but, so we can maintain the roads for all users all year long. Because the roads are not just a problem when there's camp.
Most of the road, we don't want anybody using. Right. From the gate into the camps, we want to minimize that use.
Right, but
You know, that's the other question, how many?
So that's part of your discussion you're gonna have as a
Yeah.
group. You don't need to hash it out right now.
Right.
No,
That's true.
So let's move on.
okay.
Okay.
So, moving on to our other 7:45 PM agenda item, it's a certificate of compliance request for Franklin 69 Broadway.
I met with the property owner following the commission's last meeting when this request was originally presented. They've, to clarify, the commission's requested information, have not received anything back yet. I do not have anything for the appointment with Bobby's Ranch, nor discussion the enforcement order at 27 Tenny Road.
Can I ask one question? Sorry about this. I should have brought it up a minute ago. Why didn't Teamworks call in? I thought that was.
I mean, they
She
were,
was here.
again, I want the intent, my intent for that discussion tonight was, what do you seven want to do? As the, and.
Never mind, go ahead, let's continue
Moving
on.
along.
Don't have anything for the enforcement order for a potential enforcement order at 27 Tenny Road. And the last agenda item is a request by myself, I guess, is authorization to pay for MACC fundamental courses and the fall conference registrations with reserved receipts for Lauren and also Sierra, our assistant planner. In told, I would anticipate it being about no more than $1,100, both for the MACC. The fundamentals courses are approximately 600. I think there's 8 of them that get. There's some core and some some electives, and then the fall conference is, I think, in the $160 range-ish.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
Everyone's favorite coup of the board and committee. Yeah, everybody's here, so we have it.
I like the current slate. You need a motion to nominate the current slate,
Which is
which is Margaret.
should-
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Deputy.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was
All
fast.
right, we can actually cross it off.
And then also the reappointment to other boards and committees. The Marilyn has been the appointment to the Community Preservation Committee.
Since its foundation 24 years ago.
Can I have a motion for Marilyn to be our liaison? Is it representative
Yeah.
on this, the Conservation Commission representative on this?
So move.
Okay,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm also vice chair.
20 Keys Road, I do not have an update on. Stony Brook Conservation Area, I know Jim kind of brought up during open forum the trash that was there that has been
Exceptionally
since.
bad this week, I don't know why.
Bad for a few weeks.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
End of the summer.
Yeah, busy.
What, can I ask a question? Who
Just talk a
enforces
little
that?
louder, if you don't mind.
Westford Police have said that they're gonna
What was it,
increase
what'd you say?
patrols.
Who enforces the rules at
Sometimes send
the?
a car down, or sometimes send a cop down, but pretty much nothing happens.
You get a response.
They just say, don't do that.
No one's there to watch it, to leave the
No.
trash. There's no cameras. How would you even?
We talked about that.
Well, and Jim, you saw the police reports as well that, I mean, the police are even going in there doing a property check. The property's open from dawn to dusk. They're going in overnight to do a property check. They will find vehicles there and walk and find the people and get them, make them leave and have them take their stuff with them. And it just, but yeah, it's, you know, is when something is open to the public, it becomes really hard to enforce somebody who carries in
Are
and
you
doesn't
shooting
carry
fines?
There, in all the reading I've done, and all the police reports for the last like 3 years, I saw one incident where they wrote a ticket.
Okay.
I don't know, what's that, $10, $15 fine or something the first time? And that's it, otherwise they just tell them, you know, don't do that, you're not supposed to do that. The
Well,
signs are posted,
that's-
Is
rules
there-
are posted.
Is there a
Nothing
fee?
really ever happens.
Is there a fee for trespassing after hours? I mean, some of it is
Can't enforce
is
it.
there statutory things that they can
I've
use?
never called for people being in there after hours, but I called several times for the garbage and partying and drinking and open fires. And yes, they have gone down there, but nothing happens.
Okay,
They didn't, one time the kids didn't even put out the fires. They said, okay, we'll get rid of everything. The cops leave. An hour later, it's still going on, the party. It's always on a beautiful sunny Sunday, or Saturday or Sunday afternoon during the summer. That's the only time we need the cops to go down there. That's when we need them to go down there. I wish we could get better enforcement. I wish there'd be,
Well, there may not be enough cops to do everything they need to do all over town. I mean,
even when they've gone down there, nothing happens.
maybe we need a discussion with them to say, what do we need to do in order to make what we say enforceable?
So the town staff is meeting to discuss,
Dumping on the property.
yeah, I mean, it's both, you know, there and also elsewhere around town, so.
I would
I was-
characterize our
Yeah.
abuse as partying, not just dumping stuff, but
Okay.
Marilyn?
The other thought I have is to ask legal. What would we have the right to ask for, or what, you know, what do other places do? To ask our council.
That if town council.
What have we not thought of? What are we not doing? Is anybody else doing something? Other people have the same kind of issue if they have the kind of things that we
Okay,
have.
yeah, no, that's,
But I mean, I'd ask town council.
Mhm.
Maybe we get some ideas.
Can I say something?
Of course.
Sure. Tell us who you are.
June McMorrow, Kings Pine Road. And so Matthew and Margaret, you saw that email that I sent you last night.
Didn't see it.
You didn't, I didn't send it to everybody. I didn't send it to everybody, Marilyn. But Monday morning, when I was up at the Day Beach, there were 2 very large, hefty trash bags that were full of Heineken boxes, Heineken bottles, Budweiser boxes, Budweiser cans, old pizza boxes, dirty diapers. My dog is eating the old pizza and the watermelon rinds. I have to keep saying, get out of there, get out of there. But anyways, Tuesday I went there and somebody had picked it up. I don't know how because, you know, I emailed you
I don't know, much before that, and it was still there. Last night I went in there again for a second walk with the dog, because very soon it will be dark at 6 o'clock and I won't be able to do that. And when I was coming out, I ran into a group of probably about 8, 9, and 10-year-old little boys with 2 of their dads, and somebody had on a Boy Scout uniform sort of thing, and they all had fishing rods. And I said to the dad, one of the dads, I said, what are you doing? And he said they were going to have a fishing event. And he asked me what beach I thought they should go to. I told him, and he told me they were from PAC 100. And my point in my email to you was, this is why I think we bought this property. I want the kids to fish up there. I want the kids to learn how to ride their bikes up there. I want to see people riding horses up there. I want to see people walking their dogs up there. These people that come here every weekend and take over the place and trash it, that's not why we bought this property. There's 6 or 8 benches at the day beach that say BSA on them. So I think they were someone's Eagle Scout project, probably a few years ago. I think 4 of them have black circular marks on the benches, which I think are probably from grills. And one of the benches was burnt so badly at the end that the end has broken off. Being nice about this isn't getting us anywhere. And so I don't have care and custody over the property, and I certainly don't have any authority to enforce the town's bylaws. I just really wish that we could fix this problem, and I don't know what the answer is.
You almost need a guard that goes in and checks and,
When people are getting out of their cars with beach chairs, coolers, and grills, that's a sign that we don't want there.
I understand that, but a person who sees that is not gonna interface with that.
No.
Whereas somebody, if we hired somebody, which,
I'll change my position. I've never wanted your ranger, and now I do.
Well,
I'll
maybe
hire the
we've
Westford,
grown to the
hire the
point.
Westford police to do details and pay them to go down.
But times have changed, and maybe it's the sort of thing where in order to protect the property, you do have to have something, a piece of that,
You need something.
But what I didn't have 61 years ago, maybe you need it now.
What we need is.
Because there's no way to
something in
do
there.
this, we comment on it, we care about it, a lot of people care
I
about
think we
it.
do it a few weekends,
Well-
that'll probably send a message.
I wish, for years we haven't.
Yeah.
Well, but Jim and I have also been there on weekends when we've seen when we've only seen each other.
Fine, yes, we
But
have.
yeah, but I think what I'd like to tie back to is reaching out to town council as well is, in terms of what other tools we have. For example, do we need to start installing camera monitoring? And maybe other residents will be very unhappy about that. But some of it is,
Ask for advice.
yeah,
Just
is
ask for
from town
advice.
council is, what are the things that we can do? Because what we've tried hasn't worked.
I don't think that the Westford I do not believe that any Westford residents would be unhappy with any I don't think so.
That sign that talks about there's a camera,
Yeah,
that's gotten us concerns. Just the fact that we have a sign that says there's a camera there.
Well, I've seen the sign.
Sign that put that, we didn't put it up.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but we have had
What do you-
people
what do you-
question us because we
You
have,
had people email you or call you?
no,
Yes, I've received emails.
Oh,
from
you
people.
have? Oh,
Yep.
is that right?
that complaints about cameras for where people public is welcome to visit. So
Oh.
it just, this is where,
So.
We have to
council
balance
is
things.
a good answer.
yes, so
Yeah, we're looking for guidance.
yeah, as to what we
Yeah.
can do, that supports,
That would give us some weight if we took some of the,
Yeah, in one of your emails, you told me I should call the police. And there's two reasons why I don't call the police anymore. I don't do it anymore. I did do it fairly often. The first reason is last year, I called the police after someone told me they had called the police an hour or two beforehand, and when I went up, there were 60 people on the beach having a wild party, drinking tequila on the dock. There were four grills going.
The first call was me.
And I know I
An hour
told you
later,
about,
she went
I
in
told
there.
you about this before, and when I went in and saw this, I left and called the police, and they stopped me on the road, and they said, well, we were just there, are you sure about this? I know what I saw. So I don't know what they do when they go up there, but that's one reason why I don't do it, because I don't really think anything happens. But the other thing is, I'm by myself, and I don't call them from the beach. I would always call after I left the beach. But I'm up there almost every day by myself, and there's 40, 50 people on the beach. I am not gonna put myself into a situation where these people see me, and, I mean, if I walk through there and the Westford police show up 15 minutes later, I don't think that it's very difficult for them to connect the dots and say, she is the one that called the police. I don't want to be assaulted, and I don't want my car vandalized. I don't think the answer is me calling the police.
So I think
I-
the legal piece
The legal pieces,
gives us direction, gives us authority, you know what I mean? And it doesn't come singularly from others.
well, but I think, and because I too have called the police when I've observed something that wasn't, when a prohibited activity. And yes, I didn't do it till I got back to the car, but some of this also is, we see something, we say something, and when more and more people do it, it become, the more the police hear from it, that gets a message across. If there are more people saying something, that also, it stops being a single person and it starts being all of us that say, this is not what we want to have happen. We have a process we're supposed to follow. We follow it. But to the point that, are there any things we haven't tried in terms of what town council can give us some other suggestions? But, is,
I think it's a good
So
place
leave
to-
it at that. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not
It's a-
gonna,
it's a
I
good
mean, we
place
can
to
hash
start.
this over tonight, but we just are talking the
Yes.
same thing over and over and getting nowhere. So let's find out what town council has to say and move forward from there.
and if there are any other avenues that we can explore.
Okay.
Is it possible for me just to say a couple things about this document that was in the packet from 2 weeks ago from Teamworks? I wanted to just mention about option 2,
What are we talking about?
pay the contract,
No, let's not have that discussion right now.
No, because
Because people are gone.
Yeah, and they'll see it on television and they'll know we talked.
Okay.
That would have been, should have been part of that.
Yeah, we need to say it's gonna be talked
But
about.
have you sent it to me? Can you send
No,
it to
I
me?
haven't, but I will.
Yep, send it to me, and then we
You know
can,
what?
Then we can get it
it
out.
can be included
You
in
were on
circulation.
that item, and then the next thing I know, they were running out the door.
Okay.
So it all sort of happened so quickly. Can I say one other thing that has nothing to do with East Boston camps or the Teamworks contract? May I say one other thing?
Sure.
I noticed, I saw this morning on the news when I was drinking my coffee, a gentleman who's quite lucky that was driving down Bedford Road in Lincoln,
Tree fella.
and a big huge tree fell and totaled his car. Did you see
Is
it?
he all right?
We did,
He's okay.
yeah.
He's okay.
What a scare.
Yeah. That's one thing. I noticed that a friend of mine did post some video on Facebook pertinent to the trees being taken down on Carlisle Road from that incident, which I believe happened in March, which I didn't know about until I came here. I was very surprised to hear about that. And where I'm going to with this is, I was wondering if maybe, I can send you some pictures, but maybe you could just take a look. in the parking lot where the kiosk is, there's a couple of trees that look like they're pretty dead. And I'm thinking that maybe they should come down before they fall on somebody or a car in a January windstorm. And this is, in my head because I'm watching this morning and then I could see this other thing on Facebook. And so, that's a very busy area, right where the kiosk is.
Yep,
You know
certainly. I
Then
can,
email Matt the pictures.
You want me to send you a couple pictures? I will, okay.
Pictures of trees, yeah. If you see a compromised tree, send us a picture.
Yeah, and in that same area, and I know I had mentioned this to you the beginning of the summer, a tree had fallen down on the right-hand side of the road and on the left-hand side of the road. Somebody went over there with the chainsaw, but you can see that there are trees that had, this was maybe like in June. So it's a thing over there.
yeah, I mean, there's trees and.
In the
I mean,
parking
Fall from
lot.
time to time.
Right, well, I mean, and this was also, this was assessed, we had Davy Resource assess this two and a half years ago. And I remember members of the public, when we got the report that, again, they certainly.
Every bit of the way.
We to develop a forestry management plan to deal with this and other issues, the public came and said, no, we don't want you to do that.
They took it to be, we were cutting down every tree along the road. So, thank you. We can certainly revisit it.
This is
Yeah.
in the park.
Again, it was from Depot all the way up to the
The
camp.
entire parcel.
And
Okay.
so,
But yeah.
I can certainly revisit it and see if, we can get, see if it's appropriate to get
Okay.
a tree company out to cut.
All right, I'll send you a couple
targeted.
pictures. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
You know that I'm passionate about this property and I want people to be able to use it and to use it safely.
And thank you for being involved.
Thank you.
Where are we?
East Boston
Camp
Camp
Repairs.
Repairs. I met with Mason this afternoon. I'm getting a proposal to repoint and address the chimney at the Neshoba Lodge. So stay tuned with kind of next steps in the next upcoming weeks. I don't have any update on the Edward Woods Conservation Area, the restoration of the disturbed area. At Freedom Park, we've the Department of Public Works beginning end of last week was able to locate some granite pieces from the library along the edge of the vegetated buffer, kind of separating the lawn area and the existing vegetation along the water. They were able to repurpose some kind of as a no-mow. And so I just want to thank that, and again, still working towards the other bits and pieces. I do not have an update on the Summer Village Conservation Restriction Amendment update, nor have I heard anything from the water sampling on Long Software Pond. Minutes.
Have you paid them yet?
Hmm?
Have you paid them yet?
Nope.
Okay, don't.
It's so, I can certainly ping them to see where things are at. Minutes were included in the packet as I had, there weren't, no.
No, there were no.
Yeah, no, I didn't get it, I didn't finish reviewing them and didn't want to rush and throw in something, though. We recorded the site visit for Kimball's at 400 and that notice of intent application. No site visits were scheduled. Anything additional from the commission?
Can I have a motion to adjourn? All those in favor?
Aye.